We're here. It's a Stay Lit podcast. We're doing some Christmas light things, even though it's May 1st. Ocho. No, how do you say? Uno de Mayo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uno de Mayo. I think that would
Yep.
be correct.
Yep. That's my Espanol. But I'm gonna stall
Yeah.
here for just a second because we're live, so nobody's watching live. So for
There's
those of you
no
on the
way she'll.
podcast, those of you on the YouTube channel, we love you. Thank you for watching this awkward portion right here. Don't skip forward. Just instead go subscribe.
Right.
Oh, I
There's
gotta
no
get
way that she'll ever see this, but shout out to my sister. Today is her birthday. So, Uno de Mayo. Happy birthday, Sarah.
Uno de Mayo. Yeah, so the other I was doing some research last week, so I can't go live on my TikTok, which is super dumb because TikTok's my biggest platform. I have like 26,000 something followers. And in order to do it, you have to have a PC, not a Mac, from a
Oh,
computer to get the R.
okay.
There's like RST stream or whatever. So I wrote him a note. I sent him an email today. I asked him if I can get that stream key, if I can just get that so I can put it into StreamYard. And I was like, I gave him some big sell about how it's my biggest platform and blah 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 blah. But I'm hoping to be able to go live on TikTok soon because I think it's a pretty big miss. And one thing I recently learned, I was doing some research of how to do it from StreamYard, and it turns out that in TikTok, your live stream shows up in random people's feeds. So
Yeah.
you can go from having so right now we're on Instagram and Facebook and all these other things, but like all the people that are watching now got that first initial push notification. So right now there's 11 people. So shout out to you guys, you 11. But on
Yes.
TikTok, they get that initial hit and then it keeps showing it to people. So like I did it once from my phone testing it, and I like all of a sudden I had 2,200 people live. And I was like,
Holy
whoa.
cow.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
I'm
know.
hoping.
I know that happens because man, I get fed the craziest lives, and I mean, I got to admit, I get sucked in sometimes, man. There's this one dude that shoots 3-pointers and like never misses. And I get sucked into that one all the time. Then they do weird things like claw games and putt putt. Have you seen these people who they like literally race pool balls on a treadmill? And then these balls are just racing on the treadmill. People are betting on who's going to stay on the longest, and they won't fall off. So they start dropping cups, and it starts knocking balls off. And it's I don't know. They gamble on what pool ball is going to stay on the longest.
No,
So
that's
if I
wild.
get sucked into that crap, I might get sucked into listening to us. Who knows?
Right. Some guys talking about Christmas light distribution, the sexy Christmas light distribution.
Yeah.
All right. So if you guys have questions for us, you guys can always put them in the chat. They all roll up to StreamYard except for you, Instagram. I love you, Instagram. We got people over there watching. We got North Shore United watching. What up? Brenda Harless, ABY Jumper, Hollow Wick Kevin. Man, some of the Instagram names are too hard to pronounce. But shout out to you guys, Instagram. But I can still see you guys on this screen over here. So you Instagram folks can ask questions too. But anyways, all right, let's jump into the show. So I'm going to show you guys my war
Shout out to
wounds.
Hero.
See those war wounds right there? I've also got, I don't know if you guys want to see this or not, but way over here, I got a whole bunch. So what happened was I fell off of a ladder that was in a tree on Sunday, 12, 13 feet, 14 feet up in the air. Like
While holding a chainsaw.
while holding a running chainsaw, a sweet brand new, I just got it, running chainsaw. Yeah. So what happened was we were doing some yard work, right? So Michelle's pulling weeds and she's going to town with this tiller thing, and because the everything around here grows like just insane once we get to about right now, because I'm down in New Orleans, and so the humidity just makes everything grow, and the high water table, right? Because we're at like 6 feet elevation or something. And so we're just on Sunday, we're drinking some mimosas, we're doing some yard work, no big deal. And so I'm like, well, let me get out my brand new chainsaw that I bought like in October to trim these limbs, and let me get after it. So I start trimming limbs off of our pine tree. So we have, I think, 4 loblolly pines. So they're not like a Christmas tree. They're a super skinny trunk. Then they get really, really tall. And so all the limbs at the bottom are kind of like, I don't know, they're just hanging over the pool. They're just kind of ugly. So I got out my trusty little giant and started lopping off, and then bucking them into logs for firewood or whatever. And then I step back and I'm like, that one needs to go too, right? And so my wife's like, yep, that big. I'm like, all right, it's big. Get all set up. And like, I know what I'm doing, right? So I know like I've got to stay out of the way where it's going to fall. Like I know what I'm doing. And so I start cutting it. And then what happens is your log will split, right? So as you cut right here, your log splits. And so there's a little piece still stuck to the tree. And then this is still stuck to the big log, the big branch. And so like, I just glanced at it. Like I said, I've done this plenty of times before. So like, I just glanced at it. I'm like, oh, cool. I know right where I'm going to fall that log. And so then I go to take the rest of it off and I was wrong. And it like bounced. And then this giant log came at my freaking chest. And I'm like, I just remember holding the chainsaw and I remember being like, oh God. And I could just feel it pushing me off. And so I just turned around and bailed and jumped through the chainsaw. And then out on my way down, like I'm trying to scope a spot to land. I jumped out as far as I could. And then like did a tuck and roll. And this was not brilliant, but I was shirtless. So I'm rolling in fresh pine cones that have been falling off the limbs I've been cutting into pine straw. And so we had the neighbor kids were over. They're twins. They're up to 11, about to be 12. Then my 10-year-old and 5-year-old daughter. And so like everybody's like, oh my God, Mr. Nick. As my wife comes running over, she's like, are you okay? I'm like, I don't know. Like I can feel that I have so much adrenaline. I'm like, does it look broken? Like, what do you think? I don't know. And so like I stand up to like try to walk it out to make sure nothing's broken. She's like, sit your ass down. And so, yeah, I was bleeding pretty bad from my hand. I was bleeding from over here. My back is all scraped up on this side. I was bleeding from my left leg, like literally everywhere. Like I have no idea how I got absolutely decimated falling off a ladder by getting beat up by a giant tree limb. It could have been much, 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 much worse. I'm just kind of got some scrapes, so I'm good. But anyway, that was my Sunday.
Well, man, I'm glad to hear that it wasn't worse than that. And I'm glad to hear you were able to throw the chainsaw away. When you told the story, I thought, well, when I just got the text, hey, we're going to talk about me falling off a ladder with the chainsaw, I was like, oh, crap, this could be really bad. So yeah, it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
No, and the chainsaw killed. I don't know if it like, I don't remember when I threw it, but like when I hit the ground, it was not running anymore. It did start back up.
I think it has a safety. You have to be holding it, right?
In order to get the chain to run, yeah, it's got a trigger and then a palm safety, kind of like there's a brand of handgun that does that. I don't remember. I'm not a handgun guy, but where you have to suppress both of them in order to get it to run. So it's like it's not gonna chop my leg off, but still freaking scary. And the no lie, the ladder's still up there. I haven't even taken the ladder down.
My dad did something similar to that one time when I was a teenager. It's not exactly the same, but this is what jumps to my mind when you tell that story. He had one of them big old nail guns, and he was shooting like 2.5-inch like nails because he was putting 2x4s and stuff together. And he took a step or twisted or something, and the gun goes down, hand still on the trigger, hits his knee. On the nail gun, it's got to compress to fire. Hits his knee and puts a 2.5-inch nail flush in above, like right above his knee in his lower leg.
Good.
And he's good. Yeah, he's cussing, and I think I had to drive him to the emergency room as fast as possible, and they ended up pulling it out, and it wasn't the end of the world. I'm sure he had to get like a tetanus shot and all sorts of stuff, but that's you take the wrong step and you just trip and bam. So it can go bad real quick.
That's the second time that I can remember that I fell off a ladder. The first time, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I was actually doing Christmas lights. I was in a crepe myrtle. I think I was on a stool to like we buy those little, I wanted to say Ryobi, whatever the Lowe's brand is. They have like the folding stool with 3 stairs. Do you guys use those?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, we have one
No,
on one or two on every truck. I have like 5 or 6 of them. They're just fantastic for like, you got to get up on something small, or if it's like it's a low garage, you get up on that stool
like
and
an
you can just
8-foot roof,
right.
you could probably just move that real fast.
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic. But we had one of our biggest jobs ever that afternoon where literally the entire crew, every single person I employed was meeting up. But before that, we had to go so me and Josh were doing bushes and then had to wrap some really smaller crepe myrtles. And I don't remember what happened, but I'm like up in there wrapping a crepe myrtle. Then all of a sudden, like, you like start to lean over to like reach, and then and I went down. And again, no injuries at all, other than like, I scraped my arm on the branches or something. But I'm like, dude, this ladder thing is no bueno. Like you could injure yourself quick.
I'm knocking. I haven't fallen yet, and I sure hope that I don't. The older I get, the worse these falls are going to be for sure. But I haven't fallen. I've had the ladder, maybe slide 6 inches or something, and just freak me out. Get that your heart just drops like you're about to die, and then it stops, and you're have to calm down and start moving again. But
yeah, I had that happen to one of my guys. I think that's what happened. He had it like over. He was hanging lights, and he had it like over the logs, the firewood logs they had in their backyard. And I'm over like on this rotunda. It was the same fucking day, actually. I'm not lying. I'm over on the rotunda, and I just hear like explosion of ladders. I'm like, oh my God, dude, Josh. And he like gets up. He's like, I'm good. Oh my God. I'm like, what just happened? And he thinks he had put the ladder down because it was like an extension ladder, but the metal feet were flipped. And so he thinks he put the ladder down and the metal feet slipped on the concrete when he started to climb up. Not sure what happened there, but yeah, folks, ladder safety. You take your ladder stability for granted until you you have a near-death experience. So if you're out there on ladders doing anything, whether you're a gutter cleaner, whether you're an electrician, just be freaking careful, dude. Just take an extra 2 seconds. That's the moral of my bloody story.
Hey, I know this is off topic, and you might have already shared this on other podcasts, but man, tell me a little bit about Hawaii, dude. I am so envious that you got to go spend that time on the beach. I've been waiting to hear what that was like.
Do I look tanner? Like, do I look tan? I feel like
I think a little
I was definitely way more tan when we got back. But yeah, it was fantastic. So where we stayed was like probably a mile from the beach. Like we did walk to the beach 2 times. And you could like see it from like a balcony or whatever. But it was kind of like a weird part of town where so the first 2 days, like every day Michelle and I walked to the gym. And so we're walking to the gym. It's like 0.7 miles. So it took like 15 minutes or something. And I was telling her, I'm like, it's fine. Like, I don't get it, but like, I just kind of feel like it's a little bit more American-y Mexico. Like I was very confused. And then that third day we went and took a morning catamaran, spread my wife's grandfather's ashes, and then went and like kind of, I don't know if you'd call it downtown. I don't really know, but like amazing shops, like the Dior store, the Prada store, badass like restaurants. It was super nice. And I was like, oh, like, so then later that day, I went up to Michelle and I was like, okay, I get it now. Hawaii is badass. And so like the plants there, dude, are just so crazy. We went on a hike. We had to drive to the other shore. So we drove to the North Shore, it was like an hour, and we hiked Waimea Falls. Bro, that was so cool. It's only like a 1 mile hike. So it wasn't like very strenuous at all. It's more of a walk, but you get to the top and like you can swim in the river right there where the waterfall comes down, and we swam under the waterfall. It was unbelievable. It's like beautiful weather, literally 24 hours a day. It was super freaking cool. So I would definitely suggest going there. Don't take children. I don't know what we take our kids everywhere we go, and every time I'm like, wait, why did we do that?
Well, the children are going to have amazing memories. You'll have less amazing memories, but I guess it all works out in the end. So does that island have like a volcano, or is that one that doesn't?
So we did actually hike a different day. We hiked a crater. So I don't know. I was not able to figure out if the crater was a really old volcano or a like meteor or something. But like you drive up this hill and like whatever, and then like you're kind of looking around like, oh yeah, there's like some like mountainy things around. And then as you climb up, you kind of start to get to the top and look around. You're like, oh wait a minute, we parked down in the bottom of literally like a bowl, like, and that was cool. And you get to the top of the crater, and then you can see there's like um old military installations from World War II that were like I guess like the military dudes were like out there looking for freaking Japan to come, I guess. And you can see like way out in the Pacific. It's beautiful. And then turn around and yeah, it certainly looks like that's a freaking was a volcano. I was nowhere near any like erupting volcanoes or any volcano drama.
Hey, Mike wanted me to show these. He said
Whoa!
these are close calls. This was that one I was telling you about that you can't even get back here with the lift because it's so far over the roof.
Yeah.
But it's not very steep. And that's me laying on top of a pitch hopper, reaching down to put those on. And then this
Yeah,
is
that
that
is a pretty
same
good
house
technique.
here.
You've described that technique to me before, and like my
Yeah,
brain
there's
just
kind of a
like
zoom in.
comprehend it on the rotunda. That's a brilliant move.
But it doesn't feel that scary up there because you can like my right hand, you can't tell, but I'm holding a tile. My feet are like dug into tiles, so I definitely have like more grip on that roof because there are places for me to like dig the feet in and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So I never
Yes,
felt like
I
it's
like
a
it. Like
little. I
it
mean,
looks because I've
OSHA has
done
ended the chat.
I've done like I've never done it on a rotunda because the two houses we do with rotundas where they're so tall and scary. It's like no, thank you. But yeah, bro, that's a pretty good move.
It's a
I
move,
do like,
man. You got to do what you got to do.
yeah, and
Yeah, that one you could do parts of it with the lift, but unless you got just, a ridiculous lift that can go out like 30, 40, 50 feet, you can't get over that back part anyway. So,
yeah, you need
but
like we rent 60-foot lift. Yeah, I think it's a 60. It doesn't like it obviously goes up 60 feet, but like when you boom out, like it doesn't go out 60 feet.
right.
Yeah, because I've
Yeah.
had to do similar move to what you were doing. Not as steep, but it's metal, so it's like feels like a freaking slide or something like a slide. And so that's sketchy. So basically, what we did the first year we did it, like I was harnessed up, and then I had like 100 or 150-foot rope, climbing rope that I threw back to one of my employees, and he was in the backyard. And then it was still super scary because it was like a long time ago. And then this year's coming up now, like I just tie off to the chimney and like go for it. Like I'm so much more comfortable doing it, and it's metal, so you're just plucking your metallic or your magnetic. You're just slamming magnetic clips, boom, 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 and I fly through it now.
If it had been any steeper, like I wouldn't even try it. But it really it looks steeper in this photo than it really is in real life. Like it's not a big pitch. It doesn't feel like a big pitch, at least up there. And then once you're Spider-Man on the ground, you got one hand holding the tile, you feel a lot better, a lot more comfortable. Heroes climbing up ladders with 75-inch televisions by himself. I don't know about that. That gets scary for two reasons. You're scared, that you're going to hurt yourself, but then you're also scared you're going to drop a 75-inch television and break it at the same time.
Luckily, the TVs now are so light. It's like
so light. Yeah.
Like like the one I bought from you from the Foam Universe. Like, yeah, I was like, I yelled at Michelle. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to hang it. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it a shot. I literally hung it myself. Like I didn't have to get on a ladder. I was standing like in my bedroom, but I was just like, wow,
they've lightened up. Alex, we will be coming to Vegas. I don't know how close you are. Don't all California people go to Vegas all the time? So
yeah, it's like
we have
drive from LA or something like that.
we are making a change to our schedule. I guess it turns out that September 2nd is Memorial Day. Is that right?
Labor.
Labor. Man, I always get those backwards. So it's Labor Day. So we really couldn't get anything figured out in Vegas for Labor Day because it was astronomically high. So we're gonna do it on the Friday, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, I believe, in Vegas. So we just swapped Orlando with Vegas. So it looks like September 6th in Vegas. That's how close we'll be getting to California.
Yeah, we could always do the
Yeah.
19th. That's in Houston. Like, right? Is Dallas and Houston a good move to do? I don't know. Like, you would know. I have no idea. And if it is, like, I'm down to do it.
I don't know. Think so. That's what we'd said.
Somebody asked you a question over on Instagram, so you can't see it. But he said, Matt, do you have a marketing team, or do you come up with all of your own Instagram video ideas?
We share the load. Let me introduce some people. Joe Taravella. Dude. There he is. There we go. Joe is the main guy. He's my creative director. He does a bunch of other things, social, website, different things like that. A couple more cool things about him. He is a great guy, married to a great woman, and he's got some great children that are my nieces and nephews. He's my brother-in-law. So I'm pretty fond of him, have been for a long time. And he's been here since August. So he's the one flying the drones. He's the one making the videos, doing the amazing edits. I do admit to being fairly creative. I don't have all the ideas, but I got a lot of the ideas, but I definitely couldn't do them without Joe. And then Garrison's behind me right here. He's been with us 3 weeks, and he's been coming up with a bunch of ideas of his own as well. And so, yeah, it's been mostly the three of us. Mike Ray has had a few ideas, and he'll make some cameos in our videos. We like to call him like the cameo guy. Like he just pops in for a minute or two on the video and says something, smart or funny or something. And then Holton stars in some stuff. He's in the warehouse. Not so much on the creative, but he does some of that stuff. So I hope I gave credit to everybody. I didn't forget anybody, did I? I think that's everybody doing what we do.
Can't name them all, but there's a million.
I'd like to thank my wife. I'd like to thank. No.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hopefully that answers the question. Alex, 2.5 hours. That's not bad.
Oh, yeah, 2.5 hour drive. That's nothing. That's like what I drive to go get groceries in freaking Louisiana. Okay, North Shore United. So that is a semi-pro or maybe amateur soccer team that's near me. I actually did try out for them when I was like 32-ish or something like that. I was the oldest person at the tryout. I made it I did not make the team, but I made it all the way. I got invited to come practice with them, but I was too busy and old. But anyway, they asked me real question, PSG or Dortmund. So when it comes to any team sport at all whatsoever, I don't fucking care. I don't care. I root for the players. I like the players. I follow the players. So when Pulisic was on Dortmund, like, yeah, hell yeah, I watched every game I could possibly watch of Pulisic. Now he's playing on AC Milan. So I'm more of a because of the timing and quality both. I'm more of a Premier League guy because I can like wake up on the weekend and turn it on in the morning, and it's just like, it's well put together. The games are amazing, always amazing. The talent's amazing. So, NFL, I root for players. NBA, I root for players. I don't have teams. I don't really have teams. You could argue the Red Sox. If they're good in September, I start to follow them. But right now, like I don't even follow it. The season's too long. I'm too busy.
So I'm absolutely soccer illiterate, but I had no idea you were that good. I knew you had played, but I didn't know you almost made a minor league team or something. So that's pretty interesting. I'm literally soccer literate. I know nothing, but I watched like the first season of the FX Welcome to Wrexham. So I've been following Wrexham as they've climbed 2 leagues. What do you think about that whole deal? Them pouring all that money in there and climbing up 2 leagues in 3 years.
I think it's super cool. It's like a random team to pick, but I feel like that town is very worthy of having two rich dudes, two rich movie stars pour money into trying go up, get promoted. But I think it's super awesome. I really think that soccer in America is really going to kind of come into its own at some point. Like we're still kind of at this tipping point where, but if you look at the landscape of sports, like nobody cares about anything really except for playoff basketball, the NFL, the entire season, right? But I really have this theory that I don't think America likes football. I think America likes the NFL. I think America likes one game a week.
I could argue that. You could argue that.
The TV, it's perfect for television. Like nobody watches the what's the new one right now? UFL. Nobody's watching the UFL. Nobody's going to the UFL. Like it's not a thing. But yeah, and so it's kind of like as NFL kind of starts to run away with it, and there's no Tiger Woods in golf anymore. Like I think that soccer will come into its own, and stuff like that will be, whether it's Messi coming over here and obviously David Beckham already did it, but Messi's coming over here playing with Inter Miami. That's been insane. And now they have Luis Suarez too, who he is a human being who is insane. But like the quality of play out of Miami is huge. So it's a huge draw. Everywhere they go, they sell out, kind of like a Caitlin Clarkey type of situation with Messi. So I think that soccer is going to have its day in its next decade.
Man, I hope so. I hope I can figure out how to like it. Not growing up playing, it's different. They just don't score enough for me. But like I think that the maybe of all the highlights, the amazing plays in soccer might be the funnest to watch. It's just like you have to sit through a lot of other stuff before that happens. Where like for me, I watch a lot of basketball. I'm a Mavericks season ticket holder. I'm super excited. We're in the playoffs, except for we sucked the other day, which hopefully we can remain in the playoffs
in the first quarter.
I know. And then we came back and took the lead by 1 point, and then we lost. So it was so heartbreaking. But to come back, I guess 32 points is pretty amazing. But if you don't win, it's like all for nothing,
Right.
Just wasted your energy, basically. They could have set people and been more prepared for the next game, I guess. But I don't know. I just can't sit down and watch a whole soccer game. My kids aren't playing in,
The game, yeah. So the game, it's a far different game than what we usually like in America. Where like in America, like this is why NFL works so good on TV. If you go to a football game, like generally speaking, it's really fucking boring. Like they run and fall down, and then like you wait for like another minute and a half, and then they run and fall down, and then you wait for a minute and a half. Like on TV, they run and fall down, and then you get replays of falling down, and like right, it's perfect. So it tricks you into thinking that it's an action-packed game when really it's replays. Whereas in soccer, like the clock never stops. So during the World Cup is when the production is the highest, and they will have replays like a shot that's grazes off the post before the goalkeeper takes his goal kick. They'll replay it really fast, but like it's hard to do. So it's very rare. Even the Premier League doesn't do that. So when you watch soccer, you're watching the build up to the goal. Like, don't get me wrong, the goal is always the most exciting, but like you watch the build up and you're like, and then one little teeny tiny, you miss by this much, right? The other guy gets it and it's gone. So it's a game of like more nuance and planning than it is, like any of our American sports.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's like football is a bit more like TikTok. You're just scroll next one, next one constantly. And yeah, I don't know. It's what you grow up with too, I think makes a big difference.
Right. And I know the game. So like I can watch the game. I watch my kids' game and I'm like, I can tell, I know where they're supposed to pass. Like I've coached, you know what I mean? So it's like, I know what I'm watching. Whereas like, it's like if you go watch NASCAR, right? You go watch NASCAR, you're like, what, bro, they're driving in a circle. I'm so lost. But if you watch it with a NASCAR fan, they're like, oh no, he's jostling for position. They have got all this weird stuff they talk about where you're like, I still, I don't know. I don't see it.
You know what I feel really sad for myself about is that I used to I played a lot of baseball. Baseball would be probably what I played the most of in my life, and I enjoyed it. And I used to fairly like to watch it, and it's just gotten to the point I can't watch it anymore. And what I'm sad about is my Texas Rangers finally won the World Series last year, and I just didn't care the entire way through. And I tried to get excited at the as we got close to the end or made the World Series, but it was too late to jump in and really enjoy it. And so they're really good this year. And I'm like, man, I wish I could be excited, but I just can't watch it. I just can't watch it.
It's
I don't know.
so long and slow and like, ugh. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. All
But
right,
I
here
love to play it.
yeah, I never played, so but I did love the Red Sox for a long time. My kid's name is Boston, for God's sakes. But anyways, so should we talk? Let's
It's true.
talk a little bit about the training because people are asking about the trainings plural.
Do it.
What subject? So we're going to be in Orlando on the 2nd, Chicago on the of September, which that is Labor Day, FYI. So you were off of work. Chicago on the 4th, Vegas on the 6th of September. We're taking a week off to recover. And then we'll be in Dallas at the Let's Get Lit Supply HQ on the 17th. And then we kind of thinking Houston on the 19th, but that one's a little bit up in the air. Basically, the class is, I guess we could just call it how to start a Christmas light installation business. Like it's literally, if you are like, maybe you started last year and kind of guessed at a bunch of stuff and did 5 houses. Cool. You're perfect to come. Most everybody in the room, however, will have not ever hung Christmas lights, but definitely not for a company that they own. Maybe they hung Christmas lights with another company or something and want to start their own, but that's even still rare. It's generally speaking a business owner that wants to do something that's in the fall to drive revenue during a slow time of their other business. So obviously Matt and I attract a lot of bounce house people, pressure washers, landscapers, of the service businesses, go on and on and on and on and on and on. And then, this Christian was there. He said he learned a lot last year. And so, basically what we do is we want to kind of value your guys' time. So we could stretch this shit out and charge a bunch of money, but like, that's just not who we are. So it's one day, like it's condensed into one day. And so basically we're not going to go over like how to start a business. We're not going to touch on LLC. We're not going to touch on trademarks. We're not going to touch like, that's kind of, you got to come what am I saying? Pre-learned, pre-taught, pre-knowledge. I don't know. I'm lost right there. Prepared to do that. So then we teach you the actual steps of the Christmas light business.
Yeah, we'll teach you how to hang it, but that's a pretty small part of this. We'll teach you what products you need to buy, also a fairly small part of it. We'll teach you how to advertise, how to book jobs, how to quote things, how to measure online, how to measure in person, how to close the deal, what to take up front, as far as the deposit is concerned, what each clip and each light and each strand and each everything that what they do, how to install them, how to put them together. I mean, it's the ABCs of Christmas light hanging. I mean, it's when you leave there, you can go hang 100 houses and be fine, or you can hang 5 houses. It's that part's completely up to you.
Yeah, I mean, we had so I launched it. The first year was 2022. I did one of them. I actually did it here at my warehouse. And so people flew into New Orleans and, made a whole thing of it. And that year, Christopher Weed came and then left, went back to Arizona where he lives and promptly went and did $100,000 in revenue year 1. Now he's got a crew of guys and he's a very experienced businessman too, but he's got a crew of guys. So if you have a crew of guys, you can do more money. So if you have one helper that helps you only at your small lawn care business, cool. You're going to have a crew of you and him. You know what I mean? 20 to 30 grand in revenue is probably what you should expect. If you've got you and him, and then you've got another truck of 2, right? Or 3, or however your stuff is set up, more revenue, more guys, more revenue. Go, you advertise heavier and then you get more clients and that's, kind of off to the races. We also teach you the back end too. So how to use, how to measure the house, how to put together the estimate, how to send it through Jobber, how to work inside of Jobber, how to manipulate everything, how to upsell, how to sell correctly. And then we'll probably, this is just my intuition, but this year I think we'll probably touch a little bit more on permanent lighting, because kind of dependent upon where you are. Like here, it's like insane. Like the amount of jobs I didn't win last year because they installed permanent lights instead was insane. So we'll kind of go over some permanent light stuff and take you through how to attack that as well.
Yeah. You were touching on if you have one crew, two crews. Another thing to think about is, are you going to be able to install 5 days a week, 2 days a week, 7 days a week? Is it just you're going to be your weekends if you've got a job all week? Or are you going to be able to, install the whole 30 days of November? There's a big difference about how many jobs you can take on depending on your availability. Because I would say on average, you can do 3 new jobs a day or 5 to 6 reinstalls a day. Does that seem about right?
We're generally
With
about
with the 2-man crew.
Yeah, 2 new ones, 2 new installs is usually what we schedule. And sometimes they'll finish at 3 and you're like, sorry, I didn't know. But then, yeah, with the reinstalls, yeah, you just load them up. Like you just go, here's 10 bins, go get as many done as possible. But yeah, it usually kind of lands depending on the size of the home, obviously. But yeah, 5-ish, 6-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, size of the home makes a big difference when you're trying to schedule reinstalls, especially or new installs. Purchase price gives you a pretty decent indicator, but if you can look it up online and have the pictures of what you're going to have, some houses are just definitely going to take longer than others based on the feet, but also just based on like how steep the pitch is, what's going to go on, what's going to need to happen, how many times you're going to have to move a ladder, are you going to need a lift, all that kind of good stuff. So,
yep. It's a great industry, man. It's just talking about it starts to get me excited for the fall. But I got water slides.
I was talking to an inflatable guy yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, you do Christmas lights too? I heard that's pretty good." I'm like, "Oh, dude, it's more profitable than any of the businesses that we do, condensed into 30 to 45 days, right?" So that's the problem with it. If we could do it, 12 months out of the year, like we would be very rich people, But because you have to condense it all down, it's a sprint. You just sprint through it, get them up as fast as you can, make a pretty good amount of money, and then it's Christmas time, and then you're pulling them back down. So
yeah, I was the other day somebody reached out to me kind of randomly on Instagram or Facebook, one of the two. I'm looking for his name his name is Wayne. So Wayne is like a SEO guru, and he was just asking me all these random questions, and I was like, dude, I'm on vacation. Like this is all kind of complicated. Can we just jump on a freaking 30-minute phone call next week? And so I told him, he's like, well, like when you say you do Christmas light installation, I'm like, we install $250,000 worth of Christmas lights in about 5 weeks. And he was like, wait, what? I'm like, generally speaking, for people around me, I'm a small company. Not small, but I'm like mid-sized. He's like, wait. I'm like, yeah, millions of dollars that are done. I'm like the bigger your company gets, the more you bleed into October, obviously. Whereas we'll start, like last year we started October 27th, I believe. But I'm just like, dude, it's insane. Like all of that is just condensed into this like stress ball of fun.
Yeah. I've told you guys this a bunch of times, but we actually started at the very end of September this year. So Texas is weird. They like their Christmas lights. They like them up long. And we're me and my business partner, we both have other businesses. So we had IAPA to go to. We had, he does inflatable rentals. So he had all of that stuff to go to. So if they let us start in September, we just started hanging them, And so that got a bunch out of the way. Chris, I would love to take a look at your link, but I can't open it from here. So sorry about that. I don't know what it is. Chris says this is a link to show something from 2022, but even if I post it here, I can't click on it or anything. So I don't know how to I can't copy it. I don't know how to get to it without, and I'm not going to handwrite all of those letters. Sorry, just not going to do it. So I don't know. I don't know, Chris. If there's another way to send it, I'll look at it.
Here, I'm going to show you something funny. I'm sharing my screen right now. Oh, there it goes. Right up. Wow. Wasn't even that ready, but okay. Can you see that? Let me zoom
Is it
in.
last year's clips? What is it?
No, it's this year's clips. So I went to go. Oh, come on. It's fine. So I went to go take my Christmas lights down, but I had them up as Easter. So here in Louisiana, we are blessed. We have a major holiday called Mardi Gras that is like Christmas 2.0 for locals around here. So basically what I did was I put up my Christmas lights in October as Halloween lights, then switch them to Christmas, then switch them to Mardi Gras. And then this year I asked my wife, I'm like, what do you think? You want Easter lights? She's like, oh God, I love having lights on the house. Give me Easter. So then I went and switched them to this year. I did teal, pink, and yellow for Easter. And so then I finally took them down. This is like a couple of days ago, but I finally took them down and the shingle tabs were so dry rotted. They stuck up in top of the freaking, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're not meant to hang for 4 or 5 months at a time. So I don't know.
And they were up that long.
You're getting 3 years out of them in 1 year, basically, probably.
Yes.
They're the same use as 3.
But it's like, you come around the corner and see Christmas lights on your house, like every time you're like, oh, and then after Christmas is over, you go switch them to purple, green, and gold, which is just like breathtaking, by the way. And you come around the corner like, oh, I forgot. That's so cool. And then after that, you switch them to Easter and you come around the corner and you're like, oh my God, it's so cool. And so it's awesome to have. But at some point,
sounds like for you need to invest in the permanent lighting for your
house.
I
have permanent lighting that I literally bought for my house. But I bought it so long ago, there was only white tracks. And so my house is tan. And so I'm just going to get with Fred and just get all the shit that I need to put up the good stuff on my house.
Everything switched out.
And go for it.
We did some permanent lighting. We did some permanent lighting for a friend of mine in January. And he liked it. Everything was good, but his homeowners association is not a fan, and so we are going to have to go out there and move everything for him again. So that's unfortunate.
Like you have to go take down the permanent lights.
Not all of them, but the ones in the front, they said he has to take down, and then there's some on the side that have to be like lowered. So, yeah,
house for sale. That is so stupid.
It was a strange job. It was a townhome, and dude, it was all cut up. Took some creativity to get done in the first place, just because it's not like a standard house with a normal roof line. Like it's got all sorts of different like eaves and nooks and stuff, and it's connected to like 10 other houses. He had like the corner one, and so I don't know. I guess he didn't check. I didn't check. I didn't say, "Hey, is your HOA going to have a problem with this?" I didn't do any of those things. I just said, "Yeah, buddy, let's go. Put them up."
Yeah, like
what do you want them?
I'm not about to ask about the HOA. Hell no. Like HOA says they have to come down. Oh, that sucks. I guess I'll come take them down. It's going to be $7 a foot to get them down.
Yeah, we luckily he is a buddy of mine, but he approached it the right way. He said, "Hey, I'm sorry about this, blah blah blah, but I need a quote to have them like moved." Yeah. He didn't come at me like, I expect you to move them, for free. So luckily I wasn't put in that awkward situation where I was like, that's not part of the original negotiations. This is additional negotiations.
Right. That's brutal. Yeah. The one that we did last year we did it in September, I think, because we did it right before LSU was in the College World Series. It's hotter than blazes. Oh my God. But I've texted them twice. I'm like, hey, I just want to check to see, make sure the lights are doing good. And they've ghosted me both times. Yeah. So like, I hope everything's going well. My assumption is it is, because they're ghosting me, but.
Well, good deal, man. I've got a customer about to walk in just in a couple minutes, so I'm gonna need to start wrapping up a little bit. Nick, is there any other topics that we should discuss today? It's still May, guys, so we'll get more relevant as we get closer to the season. Right now, we're having a good time and just having conversations with you guys.
Woohoo. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I've got a very, very busy weekend coming up this weekend, and then Mother's Day for inflatable rentals. So I'm good, man. I'm gonna go stay off matters.
All right, everybody, stay lit, and we'll talk to you soon.
Laters.